Humankind cannot gain anything without first giving something in return. To obtain, something of equal value must be lost. That is alchemy's first law of equivalent exchange. In those days, we really believed that to be the world's one and only truth.
I know I talk about Brodie's scale of sexual attraction and how it ranges from 5 to 10, right? And I know it ranges from 5 to 10, right? But I advocate for men taking at least an 8 approach. Really, it's 7.5 to 8.5, 9 approach. Just so you have a good return on investment, and you're going to have a decent amount of women who are going to be receptive to you, right? As long as your game's tight, as long as your game's tight, it's going to work well for you. But the thing to understand about it is this. This is what I call the law of equivalent exchange, right? The law of equivalent exchange within the blurred pill is basically this. You shouldn't be trying to deal with a woman unless having sex with her is at least an equivalent exchange. If her genitals for your genitals is not an equivalent exchange in her mind, then your relationship is going to be prematurely integrated. If you have to deal with a woman on a transactional level, then you want to do that in a way where you are not confusing yourself or lying to yourself, and she's not lying to herself about what it is. You know what it is. You're making that transaction. You know what it is. And in my mind, I don't even think you should do that, because you can get overstimulated, right? Unless you're learning something out of that experience that you can teach to somebody else, or learning something that can help you improve your experiences, then I don't even agree with engaging in that type of behavior, right? I don't. But I do think it should be legal. But my perspective on it is this. You have to get your game up to the point where you don't deal with the woman unless sex is at least an equivalent exchange. That's the law of equivalent exchange. That means that if you approach that woman, or you're talking to that woman, and the idea of having sex with you isn't something she's open to doing in a direct way, in a way where she's open and honest, and where you're open and honest about your intentions, and she's receptive without the need for plausible deniability, without the need for financial compensation, without the need for trying to go out of your way to emotionally manipulate her. Like, if it's not like that, then leave it alone. You get what I'm saying? Because it's going to be more trouble than it's worth. It's going to be more trouble than it's worth. It's like you're trying to use a philosopher's stone over here, right? This is like feminine dominance. It's like a philosopher's stone. You're trying to get something out of what you're not putting in. You want to deal with the woman on a level to where your sexual relationship can be a microcosm within itself. The sexual relationship itself can be a standalone, right? So that you can set your standards about making sure that you're getting a proper exchange of the things that you want and need and desire before you get into a long-term relationship, to make sure that you're not prematurely integrated. Because something that can occur within relationships is that if a woman is not adequately sexually attracted to you, does not respect your masculinity as a man, and she is not adequately sexually pleasured by you, right? Then something that will occur within this type of relationship is that the things that you do, right? The things that you do outside of sex will feel transactional for sex. And when the things you do outside of sex feel transactional for sex, then you won't be able to set your expectations properly for how she treats you outside of sex. Because the extra bending that you do, the extra money that you spend, the extra time that you spend, the extra emotional empathy, sympathy, and understanding, that extra communication that you do, those extra things that you do that you feel push you over the top, are really things that put you in a position where you're really hitting the bare minimum. So she still feels like she's settling. She still is not completely satisfied. She probably still gonna cheat on you, or mistreat you, or neglect you, or something along those lines, to express the fact that she's unsatisfied with the situation. You got to understand that. I know a lot of guys, they take a perspective of, well, I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3 dates. No, it's not necessary. It's not. And just because a woman makes that necessary with you doesn't mean that she's made that necessary with other men. And unless you're willing, right, to go through steps in that particular way and not care about what she's doing with other people during that time, then you're lying to yourself. If she rejects you, she just rejects you. It's the law of equivalent exchange. If a woman isn't purely sexually attracted to you, you shouldn't be trying to deal with her on a level to where you make her your girlfriend or your wife, right? Don't get emotionally invested in a situation where it's not an integratable type of relationship. So this is the law of equivalent exchange. It's Brodie. I'm out.